steps of the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange god with him. He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields. And he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock.
They're having to buy condensate from the United States. And when the Biden canceled the pipeline that was going from the United States up to Canada, he didn't know enough about it to know that actually there were going to be two pipelines in there, and that there was going to be the pipeline that would go from Athabasca down to Houston, which had this oil that they called a diluted bitumen, and they were going to build another pipeline in that same ditch going from the Permian Basin all the way up to Athabasca to bring in condensate, so they could mix that.
And I believe that he knew exactly what he was trying to do. They're trying to destroy the United States and destroy everything, and that's part of the stuff that hurts us. That's why we see all the illegals, immigrants that's transpired. That's why you had 30 some odd million people come through here. So I believe they did it on purpose. They knew what was going on.
Well, we have been going through so much information over the past few months related to Venezuela, Iran, and Greenland, haven't we? The cliff notes we provide and we know only cover a few seconds of something that has an effect on each of us. Stephen Smith, President, CEO, and COO of Nextier Energy, reached out to us to offer his expertise in this area, along with his Vice President of Exploration and Development, Michael Berneman. Amazing. Stephen is a natural entrepreneur, leader, and businessman, has decades of senior level logistical management experience in conventional and unconventional plays. He is equally comfortable managing multi-line directional or horizontal drilling wells worth $40 million, as he is collaborating with international stakeholders to bring a project to fruition. Michael, he's a walk-in encyclopedia, an accomplished geoscientist whose oil and gas consulting work has taken him to more than 40 countries. He specializes in interpreting 2D and 3D seismic surveys, opportunity evaluation, prospect development, and integration of geoscience data for oil and gas exploration and production. Before we get to this, I just wanted to highlight that silver reached $88 yesterday, and just want to make sure that we highlight Dr. Kirk Elliott, who's actually followed by Stephen Smith. Let's show you this before we get to the interview. Well, folks, you know that economic uncertainty is always around. Endless money printing, threats to our freedom are real. But we know there's a way to fight back and secure your family's future. Invest in physical gold and silver, the timeless hedge against inflation and fiat currency collapse. Through our exclusive partner, Kirk Elliott Precious Metals, you get expert guidance on IRAs, rollovers, and direct purchases, serving all 50 states with integrity and excellence. Don't wait for the next crisis. Go to andweknow.com/gold in the description box below, or call 720-605-3900 and say LT from And We Know sent you. Stand firm, protect your wealth. God wins. We've watched an enormous change in the past 3 years, from $20 in silver all the way up to the 80s now. Feel free to call them now or go to that description box link below and change your life forever. Well, it's great to have Steve and Mike with us. We've had in-depth conversations leading into this today. I'm so grateful to have you guys on board, and the scope that you guys have, touching this entire earth is absolutely mind-boggling, and I hope we're able to get through all of that today. Welcome, Steve and Mike.
Glad to have be on your show here, LT. Thank you.
Yeah, outstanding.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, we got a lot of slides to go through today, and folks really want to understand. I think today we're going to get really into Venezuela, talk about a little about Iran, and then these choke points around the earth dealing with oil and more. But before we get to all of that, and Greenland, I wanted just to touch on a little bit of where you guys have had some of your areas of expertise around this entire earth. And slide 4, I think, is that a good start, Steve, or you want to start with a different one there?
No, that's fine. We can start right here. This is a background with Mike, my business partner here, is on the channel with us. He's geoscientist, and he's actually worked all around the world. And this map kind of puts a little red dot on some of the places that he's worked that we both have been involved with. Of course, we live here in Texas, in the United States. So,
Texas. All right. Yeah. Yeah. 20. You said some countries. There's 27, but I think there's 50 something that he's actually touched ground on. Correct, Mike?
Yeah, there's 57 countries. Mike, you want to comment on that?
There are over 50 countries that I've done geoscience work in, and 3 oceans, but I've actually had feet on the ground in 27 of those. But I've done projects in, using data from other countries in evaluations and involved in drilling wells in a lot of these places.
Yeah. It was interesting because when you sent me the website that you guys, folks want to learn more about it, nexttierenergy.com, just for you guys to read through and peruse through. I noticed that you had some information about the actual areas that you've worked, but what was significant about that particular website, in my opinion, was the fact that you guys said you were able to go into an area when there was another guy who was an unelected president that served, correct?
Are you talking about Venezuela?
Yes. No, what in China, right?
Okay, I know what you're talking about now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, my dog is barking at something outside. We were working in the country of China, is what you're referring to, when we had a president that was running the United States at the time, was broadcasting, telling people that the United States were going to teach the Chinese government about the unconventional play that we were actually already doing here in the United States, but for China.
What he said was the United States was going to do technology transfer for unconventional reservoirs to Premier Xi, who was here in the United States. And so he said, we will send our people from the United States over there. And so, but while they were talking about that, our company that Steve and I had helped found, we actually had consultants over there getting ready to drill.
Oh, wow.
When Obama was talking to Xi about what the United States was going to do. And there you see it right there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, pretty amazing. And so we're talking about all of this today, just showing one area there that you guys have had an impact in. Wanted to make sure we go through just an idea of touching base through all these countries. I was joking around before we hit record. Not only did you hit all of these different countries, but I noticed when you hit these countries, a lot of jet lag, a lot of travel, and similar to a lot of folks that are in the military who travel the entire earth also, but way more than most of my friends have been to. And I can't imagine, just joking around a little bit, about all the different types of food, Mike, that you had to eat.
That is true. It was interesting in China. You would have the regular cuisine that you're familiar with, but you also had bugs. Of various sizes and various types of fungi. There was one restaurant that thought that's all they served, with various kinds of funguses. And then there would also be ones where they would serve appendages of certain four-legged animals.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And, are you talking about the? Oh, yes. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. The insect part is interesting because folks are joking around about the Hollywood actors that would come out and say we're going to eat bugs and you're going to like it, whatever. I was like, I've been to Thailand and Philippines and stuff. In Thailand, they serve the bugs on a platter to everyone. Grasshoppers are like a delicacy for them.
Oh yes, yeah. And imagine trying to eat these bugs with the sticks.
Yeah,
I got to be pretty good with chopsticks.
Yeah, that's right.
and then they would have the drinks after the food, and you would have to drink the alcohol.
Yeah.
And then they would come up and challenge you to drink with them.
Yeah.
It was long nights, but
amazing the where you have been, how, again, cultures that you've been involved in. I mean, these are human beings. And then the big scope is dealing with, the issues of oil, which is it's a big deal. I mean, that's why we're talking today, is to ensure that folks understand the impact that it has on all of us in our daily lives. And so, those red dots, again, that's just 27 of them. And I was reminded that you guys have at least, was it 57 that you've touched base on, Mike? And that's just incredible.
Yeah. And those are the ones that I've done technical analysis on: oil and gas, in some cases, gold and diamonds, and other aspects as well.
Yeah. I wanted to show this here, the Next Tier Energy, that you have the two partners together since 2004. Maybe this whole combined oil and gas experience is over 100 years. And that's a long time. Can you get into that, Steve, just a little bit?
Yeah, both Mike and I have been in the oil and gas business 52 plus, probably around 54 plus years each. And so we come from wide different backgrounds, and it's a lot different. He comes more on the geoscience side. I'm more in on the engineering and logistics side of things. And so the good thing about owning oil and gas minerals here in the United States, it's different than around the world, because around the world, the people don't own their mineral rights. It's typically owned by the federal government,
right,
or some kind of sovereign funds or of that kind of nature. So here we have the ability to actually own it ourselves. And again, there's nothing in the oil and gas space that we haven't been involved with or touched or do or know quite a bit about.
Right.
So we can cover a lot of different areas and all around the world.
Yeah. So I'm going to go to the slide that shows your email address and phone number. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Okay. So this one here shows all of the, 16 states, 24 other countries. Can you explain this, all of the ones here? One of them I noticed says Jurassic. Is that like Jurassic Park?
Well, to some extent it is. What this slide shows is my career in unconventional reservoirs.
Okay.
So there have been 16 states that Steve and I have done work in some way with unconventional reservoirs, as far as evaluating them or being involved in drilling wells and all. And then another 24 other countries where we've done analysis of the unconventional potential of those countries and worked with the people involved there to help them get started in that. And you can see all of the red and pieces on this slide. Those are countries.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Indonesia, France, Kurdistan, Algeria, Mexico, for those listening and not watching, Russia, Poland, Canada, Australia, Turkey. Good night. Wow, that's amazing. Bahrain, Qatar, and Abu Dhabi, and Iran, Pakistan, Algeria, Tunisia, and Libya, some others that are listed.
LT, on our website, we have an area there that blocks down to the case studies, and we've put a few of those case studies around the world and things that we've been involved with, and they can go see maps, and there's quite a bit there on the website.
Yeah, let me go to that real quick. Let me add that to the stage here. And that's the notable case studies portion of your website, right? So if they go to the top, they scroll down, they'll get down here and it says notable case studies. Is that correct?
No, I would go to up there on the very top of the website. There's a whole deal that says case studies on the far right side.
There it is. Yep.
Now scroll down through there.
Okay. Yep. I got it.
And
yep.
You can see where it's all over the world, and then you can keep scrolling down, and that's where you get into intricate details. There you go, right there.
Featured case studies.
Got it. About our ExxonMobil partnership with the partners here, Harding Energy Partners. Yep. And here we were in China, and it gets into a lot of stuff here in Texas. Then this gets into the other different countries and stuff we've been involved with.
Right.
We also cover some rare earth minerals. That's a hot topic that's with the Trump administration right now. That's very, very important. Yeah. Same way with gold and silver and precious metals like that as well.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. A lot of good information there. You know, I watched the video that you had on the front of the website, really explaining what's involved in drilling. And I might play that on this maybe at the end of the podcast on how that works for folks interested, because I had no idea what was involved in drilling.
I helped put that amazing. Whenever we were involved in the urban environment here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I mean, there's 8 million people here. And so most people didn't have any clue about what it was. This was way back in like 2004, 2005 time period. And trying to show that 6-minute video, that's what's attached in our website there, that speaks in all the different languages about what it is. And you can just watch a picture and it'll show it. A lot of people don't understand it. And so by having the video there that's only good, last 6 minutes, it's real simple to play that.
Yeah. I think that's located in, is that you?
That's us. That's
hey,
us.
Look at you.
A long time ago.
Oh, it's a while back. Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah. Great to have you guys on board, and man, what an amazing website. And again, that video, I'll probably play it at the end of this, for everybody to understand, but I think that's this one here, right?
That's correct.
Everything that happens there with the oil, the drilling locations, and more.
Yeah, that explains the horizontal aspect, is what people don't understand. I mean, nowadays we're doing 20 and 25,000 foot horizontal laterals. Back in the early days, some of the early horizontal drilling I did started back in the 80s. And so now what we do here in the 2026 time period, I mean, we're drilling laterals that are, 3-4 miles long, and they're down to around true vertical depths of anywhere from 8 to 15,000 feet. That's just the vertical depth. And then you go out another 18 to 20,000 feet horizontal. So the technology in our business is extremely exciting. And the new technology that continues to develop all the time is what really pushes us to be able to get more oil out of the ground more efficiently. And it's a lot of new things happen here in the United States for sure.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the United States, how about the whole world? This slide here is very interesting to me about the wars that have been fought or conflict areas where protecting petroleum was a major cause. So that is, so that's true then. It's not a conspiracy theory.
No, that's not a conspiracy theory. Yeah. That's a lot of research that goes into all of these different wars. It goes way back early on, and the entire products of oil are purchased by the U.S. dollar is what everything is based on too. But you can see the different wars that's broke out around. I think the most recent one was the Ukrainian war. That's Ukraine sits on a huge area where all these pipelines merge in and around there. And there's been some news about pipelines getting exploded and all of that. So it's, war is actually a big part of that.
Yeah. And in fact, most of the pipelines that the country of Russia uses to move oil and natural gas from Russia into Europe go through Ukraine.
That's correct.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's an eye opener.
And when we put this list together, it was the very beginning of that. And I've got up there, you can see by our count, at least 19 conflicts since 1941. And we are inching our way into joining the latest one as we gather today in 2023.
And that's where you had the Russia invades Ukraine in part to regain control of their long-held oil gas pipeline route to Europe.
That might be. I'm just saying that if you look at the map, and I've got a map in this presentation that you haven't seen yet, that shows the pipelines going right through Ukraine and into Europe.
Okay. LT, I think one of the biggest deal is in that next slide that you go to on 11. It talks about how much does the world consume from the petroleum-based products. Again, we don't live in just here in the United States or over in Spain or Turkey. This is what the population of the world consumes on a daily basis. This is a huge, huge volume it's really hard for the normal people to grasp that amount of volume. But you're talking 101 million barrels of liquid a day, and a barrel is 42 gallons. And so that's a lot of volume. And this presentation was put together for Rice University, and we were talking about all the major choke points around the world. And in that deal, you start by, well, how much do we consume on a daily basis around the world? So those are some large numbers. You see 390 BCF of natural gas, 50 BCF of the LNG natural gas. So that is a lot. That's as of 2023.
What is a BCF?
And a billion cubic feet is called a BCF in oil and gas. So that's a billion cubic feet of natural gas. And that's a huge volume of natural gas every day all over the world.
That when I mean, it's hard to grasp in our own mind how much that is.
When you start putting into the choke points, if you want to go to the maps about the world choke points and kind of talk about that, because the next one, I think the next slide that you have there starts talking about the different countries.
Yeah, so that there's 18. Let's go to this one here. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yeah, this is we put the first one together there. So some people around the world, they don't really know where Greenland is from Iceland or Ireland or North and South America. So that map that you're looking at right there kind of makes people get drawn into certain areas.
Gotcha.
And we've got the choke points listed over there by numerical basis. And then the next one gets in even more detail about all of these different points. If you go to that next slide, LT.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Right there.
Yeah. That kind of breaks it down of the top ones that are there, and they're marked on the map where they are. I mean, if you think about the Strait of Hormuz right now, that's been kind of a hot topic. That's 21 billion or 21 million barrels of product that goes through there a day. Each one of these, the large tankers hold about 2 million barrels.
Okay.
And so there's lots of that volume. And again, there's a lot of conflict that goes all in around those areas over there, and with pirates or people bombing vessels that move around there. And these are large vessels, and it takes 19 or 20 days to get from point A to point B, going across from the different points that they have. So this is a lot of activity. And you think about the consumption of 101 million barrels. If a couple of those get hung up anywhere, that makes a huge difference in our pricing.
Yes, let me go through these for those listening. Straits of Hormuz, Straits of Malacca, Singapore Strait, you got the Suez Canal, the Horn of Africa. You have Turkey, which is you put Bosporus, I believe that's how you pronounce that one there in Turkey. Panama Canal, Denmark Strait, the Cape of Good Hope. So the total per day, it looks like you have 78.4. Is that
million barrels a day?
78.4 million barrels a day, and keep in mind we consume 101.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Now you explained something, Mike, earlier before we hit record on the Strait of Malacca, the significance there.
Right. That has the largest volume that goes through every day, but it's also a very important route to take oil to China. The Straits of Malacca are between the island of Sumatra in Indonesia and the Malaysian peninsula, and there's in the southern part of that strait, there's an area that's only about 2 miles wide. I think it's 2.1 miles, and that's as wide as it is. And it would be very easy to just sink one ship or one large ship there, and that will make every captain of a tanker or a freighter not want to go through there.
Oh, man.
That's all it takes. And remember that the way the world buys and sells oil is if one of these straits gets holed up, maybe one that is only about 4 or 5 million barrels a day, the price of oil for the whole world goes up, not just in the area where that strait is, but the price of oil is determined on a worldwide basis.
So I don't understand. I mean, my mind goes to when we say that we want energy just in the United States for just ourselves, right? Would we be able to, just a side question we didn't bring up earlier, but would the United States be able to produce our own oil so we don't have to deal with all of this, or no?
Well, right now, this month, we in the United States, in the lower 48 states, we're producing over 13 million barrels a day of oil. And now we import, like Steve had said earlier, we import oil from other countries because that works best in the refineries that we have, the way that they're built.
Okay.
So that's part of it, but it's all about the transportation and getting the right kind of oil to the right kind of refineries. But the United States is not quite self-sufficient, because I think we use about 20 million barrels a day, but a lot of that is swapped around. So
LT, why don't you go, let's look at slide 13.
Okay, gotcha. Here you go.
Because we started off talking about 101 million barrels a day that is consumed.
Right.
If you look at this right here, the top 4 countries there, China, USA, India, and Russia, they consume 53.3% of the total consumption that's going on is taking place in those 4 countries.
Oh, man.
So,
oh, wow.
Again, when you get to looking at this from a micro analysis, I guess what you're saying is of a 30,000 foot elevation here, you can see there's some countries that do not have petroleum products. And that
India is
one
of the most important one there.
Yes.
And that's billions of people there, and they're trying to use petroleum and natural gas to a much larger extent. But they have to, their balance of payments is horrible when you put in the fact they have to buy all of that.
Right. You know, it's really interesting.
With American dollars.
I see Japan number 5, and Japan's just a tiny little speck on the whole map. And so the fact that
they got lots of cars.
Yeah, a lot of cars there.
Well, the interesting thing with Japan is about what's been going on with their bonds and stuff that you've probably seen in the news lately. That's a lot of people don't really understand that. So they've had some really issues that's developing over there in the last 30 days, actually 45 days.
You had this slide here prior about the world oil and gas reserves in 2021. I found it pretty interesting when you explained this. So if you go through this one, I think it adds to what we're going into.
Yeah.
The what you're talking about on this slide right here, this is about the reserves based on the 2021 time period of the BP study that was done that we took and evaluated. It was like 80 slides long. And
no, not slides, Steve. They were Excel
spreadsheets.
That was weeks of mathematics.
Right. Because you also get into converting what everybody else uses as far as barrels and
so everything
gigajoules and pegajoules.
Yeah.
So again, this is really what we wanted to tell the class that we were teaching at Rice University was these countries, they have reserves that they may not be third-party evaluated. Like here in the United States, we have to give third-party companies evaluate that for what our lending capabilities are to borrow money against those reserves. And then some of these countries,
any firm that sells in the United States as a corporation. So it's American companies, British companies, French companies, anyone that actually has investors. They have to have reserve certificates by world-class technical experts as to how much is producible. Because only a small fraction of the hydrocarbons that you discover are actually will be able to come out of the ground.
Wow.
One of the topics that you wanted to discuss is about Venezuela. You know, there's been a lot of talk in the news with President Trump about the Venezuela having 300+ billion barrels of reserves. Those reserves are not just easy, freely movable oil there. It's very, very thick, high viscous oil that's there. And the country, being third-party country or third world country, sometimes that if you have wars and different changes of presidents is coming in or leadership moving in and out of the countries, a lot of times the infrastructure on the logistics, they get messed up, holes in tubings and casings and pipelines, and the storage tanks.
Yeah.
So those things have got to have a lot of work to be done for upgrades, especially with the Venezuela market. That's one of the things that I contacted you was specifically about some of the stories you were talking about Venezuela.
Yeah, I mean, you got major producing regions that you guys listed. They were all evaluated. You were talking about this earlier in South America. You got Venezuela as one of those highlighted. So, Mike, you had something on that?
Well, yes. The Venezuelans claim over 300 billion barrels of reserves. That's a large part of that is going to be oil in place. In my opinion, they'll be able to produce 10% of that if they're lucky. 10%, get it out of the ground on a present value profit. And this is what people need to understand about the oil and gas business, because these are such long range projects. You have to look at the investment as a present value profit, so that you have to take into account the cost of borrowing the money that you have to put in the front end of this. And it's going to take you 20 or 30 years to get it all out of the ground. So at the end of the day, you want the corporation to make a present value positive result.
Oh, wow.
And LT, one of the things that's really the misconception about when you are locating oil and gas under the ground, that it's just a big old pool of oil that's there like you suck it out with a straw. That's probably the biggest misconception people understand, because very rarely do you ever get 100% of the products out of the ground. Most of the time, if it's oil, you're getting anywhere from 3 to 4% of the original oil in place out of ground up to the surface. Sometimes your gas products and stuff, you might be able to get 13 to 15%, but there's a lot of it still left into the matrix of the earth that right now, the technology, we don't have to get it out. But as time goes on and more technology,
it's going to be closer to 20 or 30% of recoveries, guys. But in Venezuela,
it's just a big straw in the ground. You just suck it right out, and just so everybody makes money, you know?
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. As you're talking, I think about that show, we talked about this, Steve, about Landman that comes out, and folks like to watch it. And it's, of course, it's a production where, of course, they're not going to do it exactly the way that you guys, you probably watch it and you say, what in the world are these guys doing? They have no idea what they're talking about, whatever. But, I mean, one portion is the sun was able to find 6 spots and they hit every time, and that's unheard of, and they're shocked in that show. So anyway, it kind of gives me a perspective of what you guys are talking about. Is that's make-believe, right?
Well, I will also, of course, we're independent oil and gas guys. We're not the majors.
Right.
86% of the oil and gas found in the United States have been found by us independent oil and gas guys.
Got it.
And so the Landman is I love watching it. It's great entertainment, and I encourage people to go watch it. But it's Hollywood produced. I do like some of the stuff that is talked and discussed in there about the green new energy scam and stuff. I do agree with that. So I love it because of. But it's a great entertainment purposes. Yeah. But if there's always, you've got wildcatters, you've got the production development people. So the natural wildcatters, I mean, I know several men that have been multi-millionaires back during the 80s and lost it all again. And some of them went to their deathbeds and didn't have a penny to even put in their pocket. So it's a hard life. The business is very, very hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we get back into, you're talking about the business is hard. I mean, President Trump brings up Venezuela, and what I hear from him is that these guys in Venezuela really haven't taken care of the oil the way it should be. That's the way I translate it, because I'm not in the oil business. So I hear it, I take that into my brain. Folks put out AI clips trying to explain Venezuela and what the impact that it has on the United States and the whole world. And so again, zooming into Venezuela, I mean, what happened there where they grabbed Maduro, I think it has more to do with oil and the election machines, Smartmatic, because that's where they were running the stolen election machines. A lot of folks are catching on to that now, and trafficking of children. And so I think there's more than just the oil, but I think the oil it's a big part of it. And I wanted to make sure that we get into that. And you guys prepared these slides. I think that's brilliant, what you put together. And so this one right here, the major oil discovery in 1922 at Los Barrosos, east of Lake Maracaibo. Hopefully I said that correct.
Very good.
You did very well.
If you ever saw Treasure of the Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart, the early part of that is what it looked like working in Venezuela at that time back in the 20s.
Oh, wow. What's the title of the movie again? I'm going to write it down.
Treasure of the Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart.
Humphrey Bogart. All right. I bet you that's good. That must be really good.
And the deal with the oil here, if you go to the next slide, you'll see about different perspective of the size, about how big that field is. There's a lot of operators that's been there over time through the historical aspect of it. We kind of break it down, all the different color codes. These are the different operators that's in. This is a heavy oil production that's coming out of Venezuela there. That's where the majority of those reserves are. And those are that type of oil is something that you just don't just pump out of the ground freely and easily. Once you get it out of the ground, you got to worry about the mobility side of it because it's very thick oil and it's kind of like molasses, if not even thicker than that.
It is more like a brownie after it's been cooked. Is the viscosity of that stuff, and those guys are. They are going to have a hard time producing any of that oil and actually make a profit, like I'm talking about, a present value profit.
Okay.
Because the operating costs are phenomenal to produce that. And that's why you've got so many companies there. They're all trying to figure out a way to make it work. And about the only thing that they're doing now is trying to drill horizontal wells. But that still doesn't change the viscosity. So
I think the bigger problem there on the logistical side is all their infrastructure has really been run down and dilapidated, and you got holes in casings, you got holes in tanks. A lot of that, there's going to have to be a lot of infrastructure money spent to upgrade a lot of that stuff that's there because of all the wars and the stuff that's going on there through the years.
Yeah. Can I ask a question on the side here, just real quick? It's going through my mind. Okay. We had some of the tankers that were grabbed by the United States. I showed video clips of that. Do you have any insight on why that's a big deal and what was really going on, since I'm thinking about it and everybody knows because I've been sharing it, but I have a slide that you guys had of actually a tanker there.
Yeah, there's several, some of the bigger ones. I think some of the majority of the ones that's been confiscated there, they're the smaller ones. Yeah. I don't know that I recall seeing one of the larger ones that hold the 2 million barrels.
Okay, so this is the one I'm showing now must be a larger one than the ones that they're actually military landing on. Okay, just want to make sure.
Based off the video that
you'll never get on one of these big tankers off of a motorboat.
Got it. Got it. Yeah.
You'll die trying.
Yeah.
I think what's taking place there, a lot of that confiscating is a lot of the oil that's being on the black market by way of going to China or Russia, either one, and it's stopping that supply chain of money that's coming in and out of that region, both from the drug trafficking and also for the illegal sales of the oil that's actually been, sanctioned that they're not supposed to be selling.
Got it. Okay. Just wanted to make sure, kind of catch on to they're sharing that with us, and it's just very interesting, right? We're just watching, we consume, right? We pull up to the gas tank, we fill up our tank and we move on, but we're not really involved in all the stuff that you guys are noticing and what have you. The slide that you had, the comparison of Texas unconventional play areas to the Orinoco tar belt, I guess, out of Venezuela, right? You put this together so we have an understanding of the size and scope of this Venezuela thing that we're going through now. Yeah,
exactly. Those it's a huge accumulation of oil in Venezuela, but it has very little value, and that's what people don't understand, because to bring it back up to speed, it's going to take billions of dollars of infrastructure before you can even start to bring it out of the ground. And every one of these companies that are going to be there, they are working on a present value positive result. And when you have to front load the investments like we're talking about here, it's hard. And with the operating costs, it's going to be hard for anybody to make any money. That's why they are they are doing so bad right now because nobody can make a profit out of producing the Orinoco tar belt.
Right. When you mentioned countries involved, you guys have a slide here. I'm going to read some of these.
Yeah.
Involved in Venezuela heavy oil production, 2015.
Alphabetical.
Okay, you have an alphabetical. Argentina, Brazil, China, India, Iran, Russia, Syncor, Uruguay, USA, which has Chevron, Conoco, and Phillips, and Venezuela, obviously. So interesting number of countries all involved in one area that you're telling me, in a sense, is not really producing what we think they are if we're just watching the mainstream media.
Just there is a slide that actually shows the production.
Okay,
let
me go to
one of the earlier slides.
Right there.
Now take a look at that. That goes from 1950 all the way through 2008, and so you see the Lake Maracaibo production. That's in red. That's a conventional reservoir, and there were a number of people that I knew in Mobile who had worked in Venezuela, and they had all kinds of stories about the wells, how well they produced. And you see over on the right side, starting around 2000 or so, the Orinoco tar belt, and that got up to about 1.2 million barrels a day, and then right now it's down around 400,000, maybe 500,000 barrels, and so you've got all those big companies. I mean, these are world-class oil companies in Venezuela trying to get that oil out of the ground. And we studied heavy oil for years in Texas, and we've looked at it in other places as well. And the operating costs are just humongous. And that's the problem. And the problem is here is it's so deep, you can't strip mine it. In Canada, they've got an area up there called the Athabasca tar sands in the northern part of Alberta, and there they are strip mining it with gigantic machines, and the oil has the same characteristics as what is in Venezuela. It has very low viscosity and has a lot of sulfur in it. And what they're doing is they're extracting the sulfur, and they are buying condensate from the United States and mixing the condensate with what they call the bitumen. They don't even call it oil. They call it bitumen, and they mix that with the condensate, and then they pipeline it back down to the refineries in Houston.
Oh my goodness.
And they're having to buy condensate from the United States. And when the Biden canceled the pipeline that was going from the United States up to Canada, he didn't know enough about it to know that actually there were going to be two pipelines in there, and that there was going to be the pipeline that would go from Athabasca down to Houston, which had this oil that they called a diluted bitumen, and they were going to build another pipeline in that same ditch going from the Permian Basin all the way up to Athabasca to bring in condensate, so they could mix that. And
see, I believe that he knew exactly what he was trying to do. They're trying to destroy the United States and destroy everything, and that's part of the stuff that hurts us. That's why we see all the illegals, immigrants that's transpired. That's why you had 30 some odd million people come through here. So I believe they did it on purpose. They knew what was going on.
Yeah, of course.
If we could build both of those pipelines, North America would be totally served by North American hydrocarbons.
Gotcha. And that kind of makes me, it leads into one of the things that you guys shared here, and it was important as you go through the quality of the oil and more. I mean, some of this is very difficult for me to understand and comprehend. Like when I went to one of the slides that you gave us, you have the better but not good for Venezuela, the heavy oil, as you were trying to explain it. For us, we have a thought process. I'm saying us, the viewers, that Venezuela has a lot of oil, and President Trump says we're going to take this oil and we're going to use it and we're going to give it back to them, or whatever he says. But in a sense, the way you guys are explaining all of this is it's not as good as people think it is. There's more to this, and that's why we're coming together today, just to explain, guys. It's not just a clip on the Communist News Network, CNN, or Fox News that's going to give you 2 minutes and you're going to understand it all. It's important that we understand what we're dealing with here.
Not all oil is equal.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I used to see
that's probably the best thing to say about it is, and talking at it as if all oil is equal is not really fair to the listeners, because they're not hearing the full concept of things. So
there's so much involved in this. I mean, just this picture alone. Let me go back here just to look at this for a moment. I think it's 20. I want to go back here, that one right there. I mean, just look at the refinery itself here in the bottom. Yeah. I mean, who in the world, how my mind works, guys? I look at that and say, who in the world sat down and said, hey, I've got an idea. We're going to drill miles down below the earth and we're going to go sideways. We're going to throw some cement in there, and we're just going to mix it all up, and then we're going to have it come out, and then we're going to explode it while it's down there. Oh, by the way, on the top part, we're going to create this gigantic city, and we're going to refine it all, and then eventually we're going to put it in a car, and we're going to put it in other products and make it work. It just blows my mind what you guys are involved in.
All of the equipment that you see in that gigantic refinery down there, that was all put in by almost all American oil companies back in the 50s.
Oh, wow.
In the 40s and the 50s.
And so you can imagine, by the technologies of the 50s to where we are here in 26, it is totally more, it's so more advanced. And again, I think another thing, LT, is that people think that what you put in your vehicles, that's all they think about. One of the deals I did one time was educating the people here in the DFW area, or Dallas-Fort Worth area. Some people don't know who that is, but the oil petroleum products are in everything that you do. They're in women's makeup, cosmetics, all of your pharmaceuticals, all of your polyesters, plastics, and everything. It's all involved in that. There's not one single thing. I get tickled at the people driving Tesla vehicles and thinking they're saving the earth when they don't realize how much petroleum-based products that are in every one of those vehicles.
Yeah, get them. Come on now.
Let's go. Again, you cannot even make you can't manufacture them without petroleum-based products. You can't deliver them. You can't put rubber tires on them without petroleum-based products. So the whole concept of we're going to go dry with oil and gas is really just, it's a scare tactic, another way to tax the world population. And I think you see what's cratering now on the international scale is all of the wind turbines and solar stuff is all. It's interesting whenever Trump says, well, there's that China is making all the solar products to sell to people, but yet they don't have any solar or wind turbines built in their facility. They're still using coal.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that's because they have a gigantic amount of coal. And I heard from our good friend who worked with us in China that there are thousands of trucks every day that are taking coal out of these mountains and have to drive on very complicated roads there to get the coal down out of the mountains. But a thing that I wanted to say about natural gas is that you saw that every day over 480 billion cubic feet of natural gas is produced in the world, and another 50 billion cubic feet a day is turned into LNG. Well, that 480 billion cubic feet of gas, that's primarily going for fertilizers for all over the world and for plastics, like Steve said. That's where most of that gas is going. Now, in the United States, a lot of it goes as heating because we have so much of it. But if you shut down the natural gas, then you can't grow crops.
Oh, wow.
It's that important.
Oh, didn't think about that. And
of course, you have to have the diesel fuel to run the tractors.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, I love it. One of the other areas that I wanted to cover on, there's two more. Iran has been up quite a bit in the news, and they're playing games. The people are, of course, the portion we see is what they're doing to the people who are trying to rise up and basically get their freedom back. I mean, I've seen a lot of video clips, I'm sure you guys have seen them, where what Iran looked like in the early 70s, where everybody looked like just normal human beings walking around wearing clothes and going to school and enjoying the great outdoors. And now, all these ladies are covered now, and I think they're getting tired. So that we see that side. But the other side we don't really capture. I don't think we talk about it very much, is Iran and the impact that it has on the oil side. So I'm showing the Middle East, Iran terrain with detailed oil and gas fields that you guys gave me here.
Right. That it's an interesting, because it is hot topic that's in there right now. If you go to the next slide there on 33, you'll see that every bit of the oil that's produced in Iran is actually shipped offshore to this island that's there.
Pipeline.
To the refineries.
It's pipelined offshore.
Okay. Yeah, it's pipelined over there, not shipped. As I'd use the term loosely there. It's pipelined. It's not transferred by ship. But if you go to the next slide on 34, you'll see a zoom in of that island. And these are the loading points of that. And strategically, if you wanted to shut Iran down with what's going on, that would be a strategic point to be hit and not have to worry about harming the Boro population there, the local population, and that you could stop a lot of the dollars that's going to the people that shouldn't have them.
Yeah, Kark Island, Iran, 90% of Iran oil exports start at Kark Island.
Yeah.
And so you get that oil.
Actually, almost all the oil exports, even more than 90%.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Just from that island alone.
Just from that island, because all of the oil that's produced in the country of Iran is pipelined to that island, and then it's stored. You can see those gigantic storage tanks in the background. Those are giant. Yep. And so those.
If you can think about it, LT, it's like that's the gathering position or the gathering point where all the oil that's in pipelines coming from onshore Iran are going to that island, collected and gathered, and then shipped out to the terminal points where they're going into these large tankers.
Well, and it's all, that whole island has got pipelines all throughout it, but it all goes to those two piers that you can see offshore.
Right.
And it takes several days to fill one of those giant tankers. And like Steve was talking about, there are some of those large oil, those tanks out that you see in the background. Those things will hold 600,000 barrels in a tank or more.
Oh wow!
And so this is a huge thing that was developed in Kark Island over the years, and Iran can't afford for the onshore to be wiped out, because then they will never reconstruct that.
Right.
But what could happen is that those piers where the loading takes place, you can take those out, and unless they put people out there, you're not going to hurt anybody.
Right. Kind of makes me think, as you guys are explaining all of this, it just makes me wonder when I hear from President Trump and he says, yeah, Iran's going to stop doing what they're doing. If not, some really bad things are going to happen to them. And I always speculate that he's got leverage and he can tell them, with a phone call, yeah, you guys want to keep your oil moving there? Well, yeah, I've got one little spot there. You might want to think about what I just did to Maduro, those type of things. So it's good to have leadership in that sense. I'm just making this up. Obviously, I don't know what's going on, but my assumption is we've got great leadership who knows how to play the chessboard well, and hopefully he's being guided in the right direction with the folks that deal with all of this day in and day out. He needs to have you guys. I don't know, maybe make a phone call.
I do think, President Trump does not want wars. You can see that from his first administration stuff. I mean, people in the media continue to want to call him the dictator and stuff, but the real dictator is the opposite sides of the people that are wanting to do that. So I don't think Trump wants to. He loves people, and so the other thing that's been hot in the topic, LT, is the Greenland. I don't know if you can go to that slide on 35, talk to that, because this has really been a real hot button with the population and all over the world been talking about this. Well, why Greenland? But there's a strategic place there, and it has to do with where the products and stuff go in and around through there, especially during the summertime. But the physical country of Greenland itself has got like 3,000 meters of ice on top of that. And these are some facts that we kind of put together for people that don't know what that's about,
Yeah. If you'll give me a couple of minutes, I'll go through the most important thing here.
I would love it.
You can see that you've got the Arctic Circle there. That's about 66 degrees. And that's where where it's always permafrost. So the ground is always frozen. Now, if you look up to the north, you see Alaska on the left, and that's going to be Russia on the right. So you can enter the Arctic Ocean there. And if you look on the south, you can see that there is the country of Greenland, and then you can see that there's the Scandinavia and Norway. And that's a way that you can enter the Arctic Circle, or you can leave the Arctic Circle by ship. So now it is true that some of the ice is melting in the Arctic Circle, but that happens in geology. Actually, the geologists were the first climatologists. So just
we can talk hours about that topic, LT.
Yeah, but so the important thing is if the ice continues to melt, and you'll see on the next slide what that looks like, you will have a route where you can go from the Pacific Ocean on between Alaska and Russia and go all the way to Europe and the Atlantic Ocean. That's why Trump wants Greenland. And certainly there are things about being prepared if the Russians do anything. But the main thing is if we have enough melting of the ice, they will have ships going through there. Now, the Russians have an LNG plant there where the red dot is. You see that there? And the Chinese and the French have bankrolled that. And they bring in natural gas by pipelines. There are tremendous amounts of natural gas up there in the northern part of Russia. And what they're doing there is during the summertime, they will go through the route that takes you out into the Atlantic, and in the summertime they will take the route that takes you into the Pacific with their ice breaking tanker,
right?
And then in the wintertime they will take the route that goes into the Atlantic over by Greenland and all. And so that's what could potentially happen, is there would be a real Northwest Passage that people have always talked about. And that's why the Greenland is mostly important, plus all of the rare earths and the other minerals that are there.
Right. Yeah.
And only about less than 10 or 15% of the area of the land is exposed on Greenland, but there are at least 10 large concentrations of rare earth elements that are out in the open right now.
Have you been there, Mike?
No, but I've done the geology and I've read a lot about it. I would like to go there someday.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing. I mean, I'm wondering if you guys have any insight on those that would move in right away to start making things happen if we do acquire Greenland? I wonder if you guys are a part of that at all or understand it.
Well, there will be that will take some time to do, but there are plenty of places. About 10 years ago, I bought at a used book sale, I bought a 2-volume set of the geology of Greenland. Each of those books is about 3.5 inches thick.
Good
and
night.
And so there's been a tremendous amount of geological work done, and they have run seismic all over the ice. So they have mapped the thickness of the ice. Steve was talking about 3,000 meters. And so they know the exact thickness of the ice sheets, and they have drilled some holes. But they've got plenty of good geology done to identify all of these minerals. And the thing is, what the Greenland is an extension of the Precambrian shield that's up in Canada. And so they have all the gold and diamonds up in Canada, and these things that are only really found in Precambrian rock. And that's what extends up into Greenland. And
yeah, you have
that's
on this
why it's
slide,
exciting.
You said you have there. Greenland is 3 times the size of Texas, and that reminder is given to us in those slides. So if you already got Texas and 3 times bigger, pretty amazing. So my thought is, I wanted to ask you guys, when nobody really talked about Greenland that much. President Trump enters the scene. It's been like a little over a year ago, and then all of a sudden you see folks flying into Greenland. You see Marco Rubio, I think, flying in, and then you see, I think it was Trump Jr. flew in, and they were doing these social media things. They were already teasing us a little bit, and then President Trump has a picture of Greenland with the United States flag on it, and they're cutting the cake. Did you guys see that?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cutting a cake with the U.S. flag on it. So I'm just wondering, you guys you look at it from a perspective of, okay, I've read the books, I understand what's there. We don't. We're just average Americans filling up our gas tanks, moving on. Okay. You guys see that. What's going through your minds? All of a sudden Greenland pops up. Did Steve pick up the phone and call Mike and say, you won't believe what Trump's talking about? I mean, what's going on in your world? I'm just wondering.
Let me take that one, Mike.
Okay.
Again, I get accused of being the conspiracy theorist all the time. But again, I believe Trump is in total control of everything that's been going on and shutting off the money supply chain to the people that don't need to be getting it, that's using it against the world population.
Got it.
And he understands this much, much better than any politician could ever understand. He's a businessman first and foremost.
That's right.
And to me, that's his biggest asset, because the majority of the presidents and politicians that we elect, they're attorneys.
Yeah.
And again, the attorneys, you got to have them. That's the good and the bad. You still got to have them. And I have lots of good friends that are attorneys. But again, understanding the business concept, Trump is a businessman, and he sees the advantages of the keys and stuff. The United States, we are independent. We fought a war years ago to become independent, and us going through the 250 year, there's a reason for all of this that's going on, and he strategically understands it from a business perspective more than anybody. And I think he's got himself surrounded with some very, very intelligent people as well. Mike?
I think that Greenland, if we acquired Greenland in a very structured process where that people get a lot of money who are living there now, this will be as important as was the Louisiana purchase when we bought that from France.
Very good.
That was 100 years ago, y'all.
Yeah.
And, well, let's not forget that we've been protecting that whole entire area with all of our taxpayer money. So
ever since
there's a
the
lot
Second
of
World War, and probably the most important military base in North America is the place at Thule in Greenland. Now that has the name has been changed to some sort of an Eskimo name, but that's where that all of the radars are, and they can see all of the planes that are coming in and the missiles that would be coming in from Russia.
Gotcha.
And that's our defense there.
Mm.
And that's the only base I think that we've got in Greenland. It's way up in the northwest part of the country.
Mm. Yeah, it seems very important, and I get excited. I mean, just as an average viewer watching, my favorite thing is the memes. To see a picture of the United States flag on Greenland, to have the fact that they actually put it on a cake and cut it in front of everyone, I thought that was huge. I mean, what are you guys doing? What do you do? You're teasing us? Or you're already in control of Greenland? Are you just playing a movie out, and you're slowly getting us to the point where we're going to realize we've taken over Greenland? It just, I don't know. It's just exciting. Those are the kind of things, like, for us to wake up every day, and I talk about this on the show. We wake up every day. We have no clue what they're going to introduce next. So on one hand, we're showing all the corruption. On the other hand, he's showing all the bright future. I mean, just one of them. I mean, the other day, it's a side note. Who would ever thought that kids are going to be born and you can sign up for this thing with Trump and it's got his name on it. And, oh, by the way, when your child turns 18, they can say, hey, I'll take that $300,000 to $500,000 and start a small business. And now I think I'll buy a house because I'm in love with my girlfriend. We're going to start a small business anyway with a house, and we don't have to, borrow from the banks. Well, that's a big deal. Oh, I think I'm going to go to a university and learn about all this oil stuff because I want to get involved in it and run my own business someday in that area and go to Greenland. I mean, they're opening up just more and more every day while all the corruption is happening and we're exposing it. And yes, the people are going crazy because they're getting exposed. They're getting paid to do all the stuff they're doing. On the other hand, we're watching wonderful things happen. And I think if we focus more on all the wonderful stuff, and
the majority of the media, as you know, are all one and the same, and they're out there to televise program the world population to their side of the story, whether it's real or factual. And I always tell people, educate yourself. You're smart. God gave us a good brain to learn, so there's no reason why that you can't go educate yourself and go out and to do a lot like Mike. Mike has a phenomenal library of books. And I always call him the human encyclopedia because there's never been a topic that I've brought up that he's not able to talk about, and usually show me a book that he's read about it. Yeah.
I mean, he just talked about the books out of Greenland. That's phenomenal. And, we love that. And so, I mean, it just gives me, these are the types of things that I'll show my son and say, look, guys, I really want you to watch this interview. I've got 4 sons, and I want you to understand this is what I strive for you guys to become. I want you reading books. I want you to look into Greenland or look into other things that are going on, so you can be a part of this journey that America's taking to the future that I think is very positive. And that's what I really want folks to hold on to is, we did bring up Venezuela. We did bring up all the stress points around the world and the movement of oil and Iran and all that. But in the end, the positive side is there's great strides being made towards making our country great and having opportunities for all of us in the future and for businesses. That's for sure.
That's exactly right. And I would also kind of bring back to for the close, if we're headed that direction, don't forget that the world consumes 101 million barrels of petroleum-based products on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's huge.
We depend on that quite a bit. I think, what was that? Oh, that was number 11, I believe. Wanted to show that one again real quick before we close. So that, I believe that was slide number 11. Is that correct? Yep, we'll go there.
And don't forget the natural gas, because that's where the plastics and the fertilizer comes from. And India, they need a lot of fertilizer. And so they are a huge natural gas consumer, or they will buy the fertilizer from a third world country who has a lot of gas, but they don't.
Yeah, pretty phenomenal stuff that you guys have provided for us today. I mean, it's a 40,000 foot view is what we call it. You guys could have gone in depth on every slide probably for an hour each, but we appreciate you putting this together and just helping us out, basically to understand how this is playing out on a world stage, why everything has been playing out the way it is. I mean, it's been a year. We've been exposed to a lot, and just just a year.
I know.
Here we are having these discussions, and you guys are probably, I don't know, I can imagine you guys sitting around for years. You're doing your work and everything, and all of a sudden this guy shows up and his name's President Trump. He wins, the election, and all of a sudden he's a business guy and he starts making moves that start, getting that needle to move in the direction of, hey, we're here to support you, not hurt you. And that's got to be pretty exciting on a level for you guys beyond anything you've ever seen before.
Well, it's one thing for the old saying is when the government shows up, knocks on your door and say, we're here to help you. I believe Trump really means it.
Yeah. Amen.
And he hires the people that will make it happen.
Yes.
That's the important thing.
That is good. That is good.
And you see the people that's mostly fighting him are the ones that's been in political service for 50 plus years.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about here, they gripe about what Trump has done to hurt the economy and stuff. My goodness, Pelosi and Schumer and a bunch of those people that's been up there like dinosaurs. I mean, good Lord. And then become multimillionaires.
Yeah.
And Trump made his billions,
Yeah. Yep, that's right, on his own. And you guys alone could have stepped into the office. We could have had Steve or Mike. You guys could have been president, vice president, and just said, look, all right, clear the stage. I'm here. We've been running business for a long time around the world. We understand the whole stage and how it works. And you guys could probably do it yourself too. Just, loving the Lord, following the things that play out throughout this entire earth, having an understanding and all that together, and being able to put the right people in place. That's what it's really all about. Not that saying that it's easy, just the fact that we've had the wrong people running this country for a long time. And I really believe, I've said this for a long time, that we've had a lot of selections, not elections.
Exactly.
They've been doing this to us for many, many decades. And for the things that have played out for us in this past 10 years to destroy this evil that has been taken over our country has been pretty difficult, but at the same time, it's been exciting to watch. And I've said it, we lost our Bibles out of the schools. They took the prayers out of the schools. And when we take those two foundations away from our children, well, look what happens decades later and 2 to 3 generations later. We watch what happened to our children. And so I think it really comes back to our kids, protecting them, not only protecting them, providing them a great future, and giving them, teaching them, and having guys like you to enter the universities. But not only that, to finally get them back into the schools. And is that difficult? Is that a giant ship that needs to be turned? You betcha. But our hope and prayer is that we get our future generations up to speed, get them excited about things like this, and we'll have a great country once again.
We have to be active parents with our children.
Yeah.
We don't have to worry about the schools trying to educate our kids. We've been lazy when it comes to that, as opposed to being proactive. We just say, I think COVID is what really opened a lot of people's eyes when they realized what was really being taught in some of these schools. But I've seen it going on because all of my girls are school teachers, so I've lived it. And so you see that transpiring in some of the stuff that comes out of it. It's like, how in the world? And to me, they're trying to dumb down the population.
Yeah, they are.
Then they can control it.
Yeah, we've been involved in both. And just a side note before we close, since you brought that up, I've homeschooled our all 5 of them, and also we put 2 of them in public school for a few years, and it just destroyed them. The few years we put them in the government school system, and it was in Germany when we were overseas, in the government schools that are over there, and to see the stark difference. And the thing that always has bothered me the most is the folks that they kind of make snark remarks, like, oh, they should be in it's they've been protected, and you guys, they don't know anything about the world. And I'm like, excuse me. I always tell folks, like, do you guys realize how many adults my kids have been around growing up? How many things that we took them to, who they've been around in their, I'll just say bowling competitions, or, whatever they're involved in on the side that we take them to constantly. They're around adults. What do adults do? They tell them all the things that they've been through in life. Number one. Number two, because they're homeschooled, they have to read constantly. They don't have a teacher to tell them everything, and then they have to memorize and try to take a quick test to get their good grade. Oh no, they have to read over and over again. And so I kind of have that reminder of the reading is so important. And then also the environment of being in around all of us, not having to sit down for 8 hours, not getting on a bus for 2 hours a day, but being around their parents constantly to constantly renew and strengthen them, especially in the Word of God. So anyway, just a good note that you brought up there, and a lot of folks are starting to do that now. They're pulling their kids out of the schools, and I try to tell folks all the time, why don't you just get teachers that don't want to be there anymore, bring them together in a community, and 5 families hire them, bring them together, and grab books that Mike recommended, the 3.5-inch books on Greenland. Have them read them together. Let's talk about Greenland because it's been in the news. And then, you know what? They'll probably have a blast. They'll all each get a chapter. And next thing you know, they sit together and talk about Greenland. And before you know it, they're experts on everything that's going on there and not memorizing. Anyway, so I'm glad you brought that up.
To me, it doesn't take a lot to be much smarter than your average politician.
There you go.
And by the way, the covers of both of those books were very dark green color.
Oh, there you go.
Greenland. So.
That's good. That's really good.
That's the only way, of course. That's what the Vikings called it, so they could have people who would go up there and help to colonize that part of the world.
Thank you, Steve and Mike, so much for your time. This is great. Definitely want to have you back on again to go over more as things play out in this realm that we're living in. That's for sure. But wanted to close in prayer for you both, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Thank you.
Heavenly Father, thank you for Steve and Mike, for all that they're involved in. Their lives have just been taken care of by you and their families, that you would watch over them and protect them as they continue to move forward in the direction that you've given them. How amazing it is to have men like this, leaders on the front lines, to help keep us on the straight and narrow, to understand all that's playing out. What a great thing you've done in their lives and their business, the lives that they touch around this earth, more than just the business, but the light that's been shining through all these different areas, that folks will just remember them and understand that they can go to the Word of God and watch exactly how and why they live the lives that they do. And we thank you for the constant protection you bring for them, protection over all the leaders that have been chosen by President Trump, and more. And we just thank you for this great awakening that's happening each and every day. We bring this before you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, LT. And it's been a pleasure. Long-time follower of you, as I've told you before. I just think the world of you, especially your closing prayers that you typically do. So thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of it.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you, Steve, for reaching out to us. And it's just been great. Looking forward to the next one.
Thank you, sir. Have a blessed evening.
You take care.